What's up? Today we're going to talk about the forbearance program, how this will affect the real estate market. Was it a good thing? Was it a bad thing? And will this cause a real estate market crash? But this is going to go kind of into a leg of the real estate industry and why I don't think there will be a real estate market crash. And I think it's really going to help kind of ease your mind a little bit, and why I don't think there will be another 07, 08. So let's get started. So due to COVID, there was a huge worry with unemployment and a huge fear for foreclosures. People losing their jobs, not going to be able to pay their mortgage. So the government and real estate industry officials worked together to bring this thing called the Forbearance program. It puts a ban on foreclosures and evictions. So during COVID, banks weren't able to foreclose on homes. So this allows homeowners and landlords to reduce or eliminate their payments for a short period of time. But just to be clear, this doesn't mean that they still don't owe that money. In a sense, it's almost like taxes getting deferred. We'll just have to make up these payments later on. It was simply put in place to reduce our costs for a short period of time while we weather the storm. This time last year, there were over 4 million people using this forbearance program. And because foreclosures were such a major part and role in the 07-08 crash, it caused a great deal of concern. And this forbearance ban is actually being lifted at the end of this month. Since then, today, there's less than 2 million people using this forbearance program. Of these people leaving, roughly 80 to 90% of them are in good standing with their bank. AKA, 80 to 90% of the people leaving used it for what it was intended for, not just to cut payments for a period of time if they didn't have to. Of the remaining 2 million people, we don't know. They could just be using this, taking advantage of the program as long as they can. And on the other side, some of them could be at risk. But with the 2 million plus people that have already left from having an 80 to 90% success rate, there's a good chance a majority of these remaining will be just fine. So on to the second factor, jobs. There are a ton of jobs available right now, and inventory of jobs is much higher. So it's much easier for people to find a job to pay these mortgages, as opposed to when COVID first hit. Millions of people lost their jobs and there was a massive shortage in job availability. Now, another little bonus, and this could be due to inflation here, but wages nationwide are increasing too. So inflation related or not, there is a little bit of an incentive to get back into the job market. So compared to 2007 and 2008, unemployment was going up as foreclosures were. And this actually continued all the way through 2009. After that, it took 9 years for unemployment to actually drop down to where it was in 2006. Now, compared to today, before COVID, unemployment was around 3.5% and spiked all the way up to around like 15%. Today, it's just below 6%, and it's steadily decreasing because, as I mentioned, jobs are recovering much quicker. There's a much better chance and opportunity now for people to find work and make their payments, which is exactly what the intention of this forbearance program was for. Last point that I'll make, and I kind of touched on this in a previous video, is the loan process today and how that looks compared to what it was like back in 07, 08. The quality of loans today are much better and harder to get because of the 08 crash, which was caused by banks lending much riskier, lower quality mortgage loans with less layers of restrictions to the person getting a loan, such as lower credit or work history, and putting these layers on after 08 has actually worked. So the ideal person getting a mortgage or getting a loan has a much higher standard with the banks. So really, to wrap this up, most of the people that have gotten into this forbearance program actually used it for what it's intended for, and most of them are out of this forbearance program already and are in good standing with the bank. Jobs are way up. There's actually more jobs out there than there are job seekers. There's like 9 million plus jobs available out there right now, and there's only around 7 million job seekers out there. It's much easier to find a job right now and get a job than it was in 08 and the years following. Wages are also increasing. Unemployment has recovered much faster than it did back in 07, 08. There's less people without jobs right now, meaning there's more people bringing in income than compared to 07, 08, meaning there's also less of a chance of these people foreclosing on their house. And lastly, the quality of loans and the quality of the buyer are much better than they were back in the early 2000s, meaning they're more reliable and there's a better chance there that they are going to make their payments. So of course, at the end of July, there is going to be a handful of homeowners out there that are going to foreclose on their house. What that number is going to be, I don't know. There will be more foreclosures no matter what, but it's not going to be as drastic as it was back in 08. And kind of a secondary benefit to this, while it's unfortunate people are going to foreclose on their houses, it will increase inventory. The real estate market nationwide needs inventory. Before I end this video, piggybacking off of that, here's my bold prediction. The rental demand here in the next 6 months is going to skyrocket. I think the rental market and the housing market are going to completely flip. Of these people that foreclose on their house, they're still going to need somewhere to live. I think there's going to be a ton of people coming in looking for rentals. So we're going to have some kind of spike in inventory of homes for sale. And we're also going to see some kind of spike with rental demand. So anyways, thanks for watching. I will see you next week.